Hello folks, welcome to episode 8 of GingerLion's Agrarian Skies playthrough. Agrarian Skies is a mod pack and map available on the FTB launcher. So, between the last episode and this, I've made a couple of little changes. Let me point them out. So, first thing that I did is I sealed this whole thing in with blocks. I was really getting tired of accidentally picking things up as I wandered around here. That didn't work real well for me, so I sealed it in. Next, see, I'm still getting stuff, but a lot less. Next, I connected the outputs to my AE system over here, which is allowing me to automatically get all the stuff that I sift and sort. Means I have to do a little bit of work in terms of, broken pieces and dusts and whatnot, but I really prefer to do that over here anyway. Next, as you can see, I moved the pulverizers out of the way here. I actually added a couple to the collection, doubling what I had. And I have 3 set up making me gravel. I have 2 set up making me sand. And I have 1 set up making me dust. And I've set them up, and you can't really see it from here. Yep, you can see it from over here. This is better. Wow, there's a lot of stuff just bouncing around right there. So I have magnet mode on. I have that one set up to sift gravel. And I have this one over here set up to sift dust. I don't have any of them set up to sift sand, which is why when you come over here, there's 2 dust and 1 gravel and 30 stacks of sand. But there's a reason for that. I've been taking the sand and feeding it into this system here so that I can get myself soul sand, because I've been sifting the soul sand. And all I do to do that is take it and manually toss it in one of these. Note that you can use any of these as an input for the sifter. This one's going to try, and this one's going to try now. Whichever one wins first is the one that fills the sifter. They're all still going to whack away at the sifter. At some point I'm going to replace this with glass, because I think it's kind of nice to actually be able to see in there and see what's going on, but that's fine. I had to do a little messing around up here. Unfortunately, because this line now has more things flowing in it than cobblestone, I got some sand in here and ended up with some molten glass, which shut these down. I guess I'm done with these at this point, but no need to mess with that. I also have a bunch of obsidian left over. I finished my project down below. I'll show that to you in just a minute, but I wanted to show you this. I expanded the smeltery. For those of you who don't know, there is a maximum size you can build a smeltery at. It's this. Each layer holds 9 blocks. The maximum number of blocks you can have inside the smeltery is 63. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63. This allows my smeltery to move as fast as possible and load things. And I also did this little change up here. Each one of these has a servo in it, and it's filtered to accept only one type of molten material. And so this drains out as fast as it can into here and produces me lots of blocks, which I then later manually modify. Now, I took a whole bunch of my rotten flesh and moved it over here to make more dirt, because I'm going to be sifting dirt relatively soon, but it's not fast. Oh, let's see. Oh yes, I told you I was going to take you downstairs and show you how things were laid out down there. Also, by the way, I've been collecting any individual thing that I got and making a barrel for it, so I have 8 of these trophies. I have 2 and 2, and I only have 1 of this one. That's fine. Anything new? Nothing new. Finally, down here, I finished. This is full. We have border stone alternate here, we have colored bricks white here, and we have a layer of obsidian here. That produces a layer of safety underneath my base that makes me very, very happy. Now, I had intended this episode to make a replacement for this. There is a new thing in the game. It's added by extra cells. It's the blast-resistant ME drive. It's made by surrounding obsidian around the ME drive. It only has 3 slots as opposed to the 10 that this does, so I was going to have to make a couple of them. But I tested it in my test world, and while it works, it often introduces glitches. And what they do is when you take stuff out, sometimes it doesn't count it as having been taken out. So you put it back in and you've just multiplied your stuff. And you can multiply and multiply and multiply all your stuff, which, you know, is great if you intend to cheat your way through. But if we were going to do that, we might as well just, you know, turn on cheat and give ourselves all the items we want and not be playing a skyblock in the first place. So unfortunately, I can't build myself a blast-resistant ME drive, so sometime soon I'm going to make myself a blast-resistant chamber that is pretty well sealed to put my drives in, because, let's be honest, all of the stuff that I have is currently stored on this network, and I don't want to lose it all. So, anyway, what is our next project today? Well, today I'm going to take the next step in automating all of these things, and I'm going to make myself an assembler. Yes, those of you who saw my other video know exactly what I'm about to do, except now I'm going to do it by hand. So, let's see. How do I want my processor set up right now? Do I want 2 and 2? Do I want 4 and 4? I think I'm going to go for... Oh, let me see what... I've got a reasonable number of diamonds. I like my assembly systems to be really fast. So let's do 6 and 4. What am I talking about? Well, those of you who haven't seen my other video, Applied Energistics, you can build an automatic... Oh, I can't do it when I'm there. Applied Energistics has a system for automatically crafting things. It involves a big multi-block structure with the assembler containment walls around the outside, this on the sides, and crafting CPUs and... where are they? Pattern providers on the inside. Each crafting CPU gives you 1 more processing event per second. Each pattern provider holds 64 patterns, 63 patterns, something like that. Which allows you to do the work. You can expand it later, so there's no need for me to, you know, build it gigantic now, but what the heck, right? I mean, you know, I can. I have the opportunity. And I think... where do I want it? Where do I really want it? I'd like to be able to get to the edge of it. I don't really want to run a lot of ME cable to and from it right now. At the moment, my ME network is really these 3 devices and that, which is, by the way, how I'm getting things in and out is for this ME interface. You know what? I think I'm going to build it. Any reason for me to build it up here? I just made all this nice space down here. Where do I want it? I think... let's see. My problem is, isn't there lava basically flowing right in there? There is. So I can't just dig in there. I think I'm going to put it in the floor right in here. Right underneath these half slabs. So, how big is it going to be? How big is this monster? Well... goes like this. Containment wall, processor, containment wall. So I just said that I want there to be 6 processors and 4 storage cells. So let's see. And I need my edges. So there's 4 processors, 6 processors, and there is my edge. There we go. So, processor, storage, no, edge, processor, storage, edge. Oops, went too far. Let me remove this half slab so that I can see what I'm doing. And then, do I have to, can't go exactly where I want it, so it's got to go over one. I think I got that right. And it's going to have to go down 2 more. Okay, I'm going to do myself a little bit of digging, and I'll dig out the right size place, and I'll be right back. Okay, folks, so I have my pit dug. Now it's time for me to start making the various things that I need. First thing that I need is containment walls. And I need... I need 14 for the bottom. And 14 for the top. And then 8 for the edges. I think I've got that right. Now, I need heat vents. 6 for the bottom, 6 for the top. And I'm pretty sure heat vents are going to take cable. And I don't have much cable, do I? And I don't have many bars. So, what's the recipe for iron bars? If I'm correct, it's... there. Now, cable. I have 8, and I'm going to need a lot more than that. So, what's the recipe for cable? If I'm correct... ooh, I have an opportunity. So let me show you something neat. Fluix cable, like so, can be made one of 2 ways in this mod pack. Either with raw plastic or with glass. And raw plastic is made by smelting rubber bars, which is made by smelting raw rubber. And I have recently been working pretty hard at chopping down rubber trees. So I'm going to take 2 stacks of this rubber, and I'm going to set up some of these furnaces. So this one is going to be set up to output to the right, which is exactly the way I want it to. That'll accept from the right. So let's toss these rubber in here and let them smelt up. And as soon as, both of these kicked on just the way I wanted them to, as soon as I have 6 raw plastic, I'll show you the recipe, and then I'm going to go off camera and let that recipe cook up. Now, please note, I turned on my lightings because I do know perfectly well that this is going to be a monster hole. This is a big problem, except that I'm standing right next to it. Actually, while some of that cooking occurs, let me just do this. This is what I mean by the borders, the frame, as it were, of this needs to be made out of these assembler containment walls. I'm not going to fill in that right over there, because I'd like to be able to get out. So, I have 2 left. They'll fill in this spot here. That'll probably be the last thing that I fill in. So, 6... 12, 24, 32, yes, see, 24, 32 heat vents is what I need. So I need 32 cables to make 32 heat vents out of. Let's wait till there's 24, and then I'll make some cables up with these. Nice. So, I have Fluix dust. Good. So let's go ahead and lay a line of Fluix dust along here. And line of plastic like so. And let's get as many cables as we can make out of the deal. We ran out of plastic. Big surprise. 24. That'll get us some of our heat vents. So let's take a look at heat vents, just so I can get part of that laid out. Bing, bing, bing. There's 24 heat vent. Now these are not the expensive things. This is, I mean, other than the cabling, this is basically the cheaper parts of building this multi-block. Two left, huh? There. 8 left to go. Can I build from up here? Maybe. So, there's 20. Once I have 24, I'll go back and use up the rest of my Fluix dust. I don't know. Not the fastest thing in the world, but relatively efficient given that it's running on gunpowder, which is an otherwise mostly useless resource to me. So again, clear this out. Fluix dust. I could automatically put this in, but no, that's not what I wanted. There we are. There's 16 more cable, and we want heat vent. It is 8, right? I always hate making more of these materials than I need, because I rarely, if ever, come back and expand this. So there's 8. Let's clear that out. It gives me 8 cable. I'm going to need at least one of them, so that's fine. Heat vent. So let's see. Am I going to seal myself out? I think I'm going to put the last of my containment walls down. Now, theoretically, I should not have to come back down here, but I'm not going to pull up the land behind me quite yet. Let's see. I'm going to have an awful hard time just building down there. It's going to involve building against the sides, but I can do that. Okay. Now, what are the next things that we need? Well, like I said, we need CPUs. And I happen to, and having designed this specifically for it, I want 8 of these, which means I need 8 of these diamond processors. How many do I have right now? 2. So, I need to make myself 6 of these. And I don't have a quartz cutting knife in here, and I think that's because I pulled out everything with a damage bar and moved it over here in an attempt to save myself a little bit of storage space. But there's no reason to take this out now that I think about it. So, and since they're available, I'm going to come over here and toss a little more rubber in here. I'm going to toss this in here. And I'm just for grins, I'm going to shut off its outputs to make sure it doesn't try to put those anywhere. So, what are these? Again, these are what make the multi-block operate faster. If we want it to be a rapid... Haha, yes, it worked. If we want it to move rapidly, we're going to put in a bunch of CPUs. In my case, my intention is to put in 8 of these, which is only going to leave 4 places for pattern storage, because I want this to be a rapid device, not just a device. So there's 6 more of these. Clear this out. CPU is what I would like to make. Bang. There. 6. Thank you. Done with that. There's those. And finally, and I think these are going to take more diamond CPUs, but I wouldn't be surprised. Pattern providers, yes. So we're going to need 4 more of those. How many conversion matrices do I have? None. Okay, so let me make the various components that I need. So I need 8 of these. Yeah. 8 of these. Need more fluix dust. So, bing, bing, bing. Do I have enough raw plastic to do that? Nope. But now I do. Nice. There are multiple recipes for fluix dust. The advantage of using this recipe is that I get 2 more for the cost of 1 plastic. To me, this is a great deal, given that I need fluix dust regularly for making cables and all sorts of other things. So, there's that done. Now, I wanted pattern providers, which needed conversion matrices. There, that's enough conversion matrices. And then storage cells. I wonder how many of those I have. I have none. So I need 4. And I ran out of processors. I was hoping I had enough, but not quite. So, I need 1 of these. And it's always good to have some spare of these around. Okay. Let's make it a grand total of 6 and go cook these. And I know I need 4 more diamond processor arrays. So, and 1 for spare. There's the rest of my plastic cooked. And I can toss this in here. Almost done, folks. I'm going to need some cable because I need to connect this thing to the network. So take 2 pieces of cable. Basic processors complete. Diamond processors complete. Tossing them in the system. And back to what I was making. So, pattern providers. I wanted 1 more of these. That makes 4. Toss those in the system. I need these. Now at the moment, I don't believe I have any use for rubber wood. Let me make sure. Before I use it up making wood out of it, I can smelt it. I can use it as fuel. I can use it in a sawmill to get balls of glue, which are not all that valuable to me. Let me take a look at the recipe for a sawmill, just because extra planks is always a good thing, right? Do I need to take a side course and make this? No, I'm only making a couple of crafting tables, so. That's enough of that. That's enough of that. And finally, that's the 4 of those that I needed. So now these, like I said, will store patterns. Each one will hold 1 full double chest worth of patterns. Finish the multi-block, it assembles, you'll notice 4 pattern providers, 4 pages of recipes that can be stored. Perfect. So now, so that monsters don't spawn on here. I could just put torches, but quite frankly, I like the idea of this multi-block being unobtrusive. Having this huge thing available, but not, you know, in my face, seems good to me. And I was keeping out a little bit of cable. Now, I want to know how much power this thing uses, because, frankly, it's important in this map, in my current circumstance, to have a good idea of how much power I'm drawing, because, quite frankly, I'm running out of gunpowder, which doesn't seem to be the most... it's pretty renewable. It's a reasonably renewable resource, okay, but I'd like to know anyway. So how do I find out? Well, right here, I'm using 4 a tick. I connect this, and I'm using 6.4. So I am using an extra 2.4 Minecraft joules, which is 24 redstone flux. Not bad. Okay, so what's next? Well, we need a pattern encoder. This is going to involve another conversion matrix. Knew there was a reason I made an extra processor. And a crafting table. Now this is a single block, doesn't need to be connected to anything special, isn't sensitive to anything, the only thing is you want to be able to access it regularly. By the way, how am I going to put patterns in my thing? Well, I'm going to look at this little block right here. So I basically have one little block in the floor that allows me to access that entire multi-block. It's unobtrusive. I like that. That pleases me. So what am I going to do? I think I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it right there. Now I can access them, all 3 of them within reach. So what does this do? Well, this makes the patterns that this operates on. But I need the blank patterns first. So, ME pattern providers. Let's see how many of these I can make. I'd really like to make a stack, but I ran out of glass. That doesn't surprise me. Up until recently, sand was a little bit of a rare resource. So, as a little sidelight moment, I'm going to run over here. I'm going to grab myself a bunch of sand. Explosion's still going off over there. That's an indication that I'm still gaining power. By the way, these barrels, this barrel over here has been empty, but I've had this back stuff a couple of times. I think the length of this line is causing gunpowder to bounce back and forth down the length of the line, and so it's not, it's not working like I want it to, but it's at least keeping them full. So, I'm going to toss these 3 furnaces full of sand. I'm pretty sure there's no recipe in an induction smelter for sand. For glass, I mean. 56 pages of recipes. Let's see if I can scroll through all of them very quickly. There's hardened glass, obviously. Ooh, what was that? Salt, rich slag, and that's really not worth it. Because there's basically free ways of making salt later. Not even much later. I've got automated assembly going on here, so... Nope. Okay, so, meanwhile, back at the ranch, and there we are. That gives us some glass, which allows me to make another 19 of these blank patterns. I like to keep this full. Because, well, quite frankly, when I get to doing my automation, I often need 10 of them in a row, and there's no reason for me to waste my time going back and forth. I've got those furnaces over there, so I'm going to take that many out. I need a little bit of food. Part of this is that I've actually seen, just recently, a YouTuber that I watch regularly set up some auto crafting using this system surrounding Pam's Harvest Craft, and I thought to myself, hey, eating toast is not the end-all be-all of this, and I don't really want to have to carry around a food that I have to eat 15 of just to fill up my food, which isn't really 15, but, you know, I'm complaining, so I'm allowed to complain a little bit. So, I really don't think that there's any reason for me to continue eating toast once I have a system up and running that'll allow me to more quickly make bigger and better things. So, let me just collect any extra resources that have grown around my base. I don't have any trees planted right now. That's strange. So, now, back to what I was doing. Now that I'm done just sort of randomly blathering. Now, what am I going to set this thing up to make for me? Well, let's see. The first thing that I think that I'd like to have it make, because I'm probably going to use it a bunch, is cable. So, I want rubber, plastic, actually, why don't I do this? Cable, recipe, shift click it in, and then steal one of these. That's easy. Come over here and teach the systems the only possible way of making these cable is like so. Nice. While I'm at it, I might as well teach it how to make the necessary component that it doesn't have yet, which is Fluix dust. What's the recipe for Fluix dust? I know what it is, but I click over here on Fluix dust, shift click it in here. That allows me to steal this, and this, and this. Clear this out and say, these four things in a crafting grid should produce me this. Encode that. Good. Now I have cables. Now what else do I want? Well, once you have cables, import buses. Ooh, looks like I need to craft a whole bunch more things. That and that. Let's go ahead and put this recipe in. So, there is another way of putting recipes in here. Sometimes it's a little iffy. Quite frankly, it's not the best thing in the world, but none of these are or dictionaried much. All these things are pretty solid and standard and stable, so I can shift click here and encode that recipe just like that. Now, what I wanted was the import bus. Means that I need to make a whole bunch of different things. Now see this, if I shift click this in here, it's going to not know what type of cobblestone, it's not going to know what type of wood, it's not going to know what type of aluminum ingot. That's a problem for me. So at the moment I'm not going to teach it how to make pistons. Instead, I'm going to teach it how to make most of the things that are needed, and then I'll manually come back and teach it how to make pistons on another day. This I can teach it how to make because I know that I'm going to have this type of raw rubber available to me at most of the time. I intend to set up an automated farm at some point soon. And finally, we now have a basic import bus. And there will be times that I will need the precision import bus, which is a basic and a processor. Might as well encode that while I'm here. What's the fuzzy? Is the basic and a diamond processor. Let's encode that for those few times that I need it. And what's the fluid? precision import bus, and covered cable. So I need to teach it how to make covered cable. No, I don't. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to worry about the fluid import bus right now. So, we now have import buses. Let's go with the export buses. Precision export bus. Easy. Encode. Basic import bus. I already taught it how to make all these things except the piston. Encode. Fuzzy import bus. Encode. And there's one other type of bus that I'm going to use a lot. Let me just actually look at the buses and make sure that there's nothing else. Precision import, precision export, storage, fuzzy import, fuzzy export, fluid. Okay, so it's the storage bus. Is a thing that I like. I think this is a wonderful tool, especially on this map. The reason is, there's a lot of things that are being stored in barrels, like, for example, right over here, that I would like to be accessible to my system, but I don't really want to put them in my system. That seems like a waste of time and effort to me. So what I would do is run a cable over there and put a storage bus on the back of each one of these barrels, or in the bottom of each one of these barrels. And then my ME system would be able to see, hey look, we have 11 stacks of ender pearls, but they wouldn't be sitting on one of these drives. They wouldn't be wasting my storage space. So, in fact, I may very well end up doing that with these barrels over here. And then I'll have access to all of my cobble and whatnot. And when I store things in the system, if I've set things up correctly, they will store sand and whatnot in that system. So, there's my auto crafting built. Why and what was the big driving reason that I had for doing that? Well, it's actually pretty simple. See all those? They are driving me crazy. So, I am going to, off camera, take just a minute and teach my system how to make these various items into what they need to be, and then I'll come back and show you the why I did it. It's a little bit sneaky. Again, those of you who've seen my other videos know what I'm about to do, and, well, I hope you don't mind seeing it a second time. Be back in just a minute. Hi again, folks. So, I made myself a bunch of cable, and I made myself a couple of those buses that you saw me configuring. In this particular case, I made precision export buses. And, as you can see, actually I'm going to run it closer to the surface. There's no reason for me to have to dig further to get to this cable. Let's do it the other way. Right parallel with my power cables makes a huge amount of sense to me. Now you might wonder where I am, though those of you who were paying attention to when I ran my power cable probably have a pretty good idea. I am right down here, heading for that. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go under my power cable at some point here, and I think this little spot is a good spot for a switcheroo. So, doo-doo-doo. That seems good. Cable, cable, cable. Get us all connected. Good. And now I can put slabs back down on the surface here. I'm not going to use my shears anytime soon. Good. So why am I running this otherwise quite expensive cable that I've clearly made quite a lot of for this purpose way out here? Well, you're going to see in just a minute. It has to do with automation of this portion of course I fall in the hole, this portion of my automatic ore generation process. I want directly underneath, and in fact, I think I'd like this side as well. Good. Let's grab any things that are floating around, and out I come. Now, ME cable. I'm going to set up an export bus on the side of this chest. In fact, I'm going to set up 3 export buses on 3 of the sides of this chest. Basically, the 3 sides of this chest that are easily accessible. Unfortunately, yep, that one worked good. And there. I'll put down, and I made it for this purpose, and I think I'm going to use it. I would like things to enter my ME system just a little bit faster. So, I'm going to set up that in ME interface right there and connect it to the network. What is that going to do for me? Well, if I dig down right here, you'll notice this is the line by which I am pulling materials over to my ME system. Well, I don't need it anymore because that is now connected to my ME system, and it's much faster than this pipe, which, as you see, is full of otherwise extraordinarily useful stuff that just isn't in my system yet because it's been sitting slowly running its way down through this line. So, no reason for me to let valuable materials waste their time. I also am going to need to reconfigure things just a little bit when I get to here. Let's go ahead and... Oops, that wasn't what I wanted at all. There we go. Let's go ahead and put these items in. Let them get loaded into my ME system. Good, good. And now, I'm going to have to remove this. Have to? No. I was wrong. I don't have to fix anything here. So, let's put this in place and repair the damage that I've done in the process of removing this item duct. I may need more slabs than I've got, we'll see. In general, any place that I built a slab is because I removed a slab, and I think I just used one extra. So now, again, other than getting things into my inventory much faster, you'll notice they're all arriving here now. Why did I go ahead and build all the way out here? Well, it looks like I'm going to be good on slabs. Perfect. Everything's nice and sealed up. Why did I go through all the effort of building way out here? Oops. Forgot to connect something. So, let me bring you back to my AE system and show you. Doo-doo-doo. That'll be useful later, guaranteed. I'm done with cable for the moment. Good, good, good. So now, let's switch to craftable. And you'll notice I made the ability to make all of these gravels. I'm actually just going to... Yeah, and I'm going to do gravel. Automatically. Now, I could manually come in here and just tell it to make all the gravel, and that'd be fine, but I don't want to be involved. I want the system to do it for me automatically. And I actually would like to do the exact same thing with sands. So, aluminum ore sand, copper ore sand, gold ore sand, iron, lead, nickel, platinum, silver, and tin. These are the sands that are coming from the system, and I probably should do something about these ardite, but they don't go the same way, so it's irrelevant for the moment. I have more manual to fix my pickaxe. That's good to know. Okay, anyway, so what I'm going to do is this. Come over to this bus, and I'll start with the one furthest from me, because it needs another cable. That's okay, I'll start with this one down here then. So, I'm going to set this to move single items and craft, if necessary. That's my only choice, yes. Move single items and craft. And I'm going to tell it to do that with all of these gravels. You may have just begun hearing the ch noise behind me. That's because this is now being filled up with all of these gravels. And those are being fed automatically through here into here, which is beginning to deploy them and crush them. Perfect. Now, having done this one, oops, and I know I missed one. Which one did I miss? I hope I can get it out of here. I bet it's platinum. Nope, I got platinum. Let's see. Aluminum, copper, gold, iron, lead, nickel, platinum, silver. I missed tin. Is there any tin left in either of these? Nope. Okay. Hammers are breaking. That's fine. Let me put the platinum back and go get a cable and some tin and fix what I just messed up. See. Tin. No. I don't want platinum. I want tin. There we go. So that automated those 8 being created and put in here. Whenever there's the materials available for them, they will be created and put in there, which gets me a lot of the way. Next, here, we'll put this one. This is sort of going to be my spare. In fact, I'm going to put the tin or sand in there right now. System as fast as it can, crafting all the tin or gravel and putting it in there. Now, this is why I got the extra cable. Bink. Move craft. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you'll note this is filling as rapidly as it can from my AE system. Again, we are getting all of the items that it can make, and it's tossing them in here. Let me come over here and make sure that my ores look like I want them to. Yep. It looks like, let's see, it has not yet done the tin, crushed tin, like I wanted it to. So let's go ahead and... Does that trigger anything? Doesn't, unfortunately. But all of the brokens, there are none. There are less than 4. As soon as there are 4, it takes them. So it looks like this tin or sand is the only one that, so far, that it hasn't really kicked in and done. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, it's here. Let's remove it and replace it and see what happens. Does this get a bunch of tin or sand? It should. Let's put another example of it in here. Maybe my tin ore sand recipe. No, it works. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I seem to be having an export problem with tin. Crushed tin ore. Well, let's remake the recipe once and see what's going on. So again, I reach down in here, I find my tin ore sand, shift right click it, it's now blank. I can toss it back in here, crushed tin ore sand, encode, bang, and back in the system. Not exporting. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to grab... looks like platinum's doing the same. No, platinum's doing fine. It's just the tin. I don't like that. I don't know why it's doing it, which is part of why I really don't like it the most. Let's switch this mode to always craft and see what it does. Nothing. Remove that completely. And always active. Good. Tin ore sand. Make it, please. Did it just do it? Not a 1. Okay, folks, I'm going to troubleshoot this problem, and I'll be right back. Well, it looks like I have a solution for it. Basically what I found is that putting the same gravel and sand in a thing doesn't seem to work very well. And I don't know why. I think it's because it's 3759:1 versus 3759. But when I put my silver ore sand over here and my tin ore sand over here, all went well. Everything moved into the system just like it was supposed to. So, there's one more set of auto crafting that I would really like to do, which for the moment will automate my system as far as I reasonably feel like I can. Actually, you know what? I was thinking about doing it one way, but I think I'm going to do it a different way. So, give me a minute, folks. I'm going to prepare something. Okay, folks, so it's a bit of a hydra, but I really like it. So, here's what I've got configured. I've got a basic export bus here putting sand into this, because it needs sand over here in this left-hand slot to operate. It is the induction smelter from Thermal Expansion. It has a huge number of recipes in it, which we were looking at earlier, and one of the nice things about it is that we can toss in all of our various sands and have them smelted in here. Simple, easy. The only disadvantage is it uses up a little bit of sand. I have sand to spare at the moment. So, here's how we've got it configured. I've got 2 sets of inputs, because again we have 9 things and only 8 slots in our input, and 1 output. I'm just using a basic output bus. I hope it'll work like fast enough. So, what do we want to do? Well, again, we want to set these to move craft, and I'm going to put all of my various ores in here, except tin. And tin's going to go in the back. You'll notice it's full of aluminum. And it looks like aluminum isn't working in the induction smelter. Let me remove aluminum from this list. I was concerned about that. Remove aluminum. It's going to work with lead. Aluminum is the only one that I'm pretty sure isn't going to work. Maybe platinum? We shall see. But that means that I may not need this extra precision bus. We shall see. Let's toss this in and let things cook. So, I'm going to ask for an... I already have a basic export bus and a chest. Basic's not going to work. That always makes me sad. So let's see. Well, I give it back the basic and ask for an... I want a precision export bus, please. By the way, I made another thing called a crafting monitor that allows me to come over here and see what's going on in my automatic crafting world. Looks like there are no issues with making myself a precision export bus. I could have stolen the one off the back here, probably, but we'll never know. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this chest down. Nope, not there. Where's going to be good for me? Actually, right here seems like a... Nope, 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 nope. None of these spots are good. I guess it's going to go back here. Let's start by putting down my bus. Rotating it till it faces that way. And put my chest down. And I'm going to set this to autocraft aluminum and put it in this chest. That gets the aluminum out of my system, which, pleases me. Now, this is purely going to be working its way through lead until it runs out of lead or dust to work with. So, let me go in here and take a look and see what's going on. It looks like I have 1 and 2 of each one of those. That's good. I got 4 of each one of those. I'm sure it'll get to that relatively soon. And the only ones that I have over a large number of are these ones that are going to be turned into these dusts and fed into my smelter. Now all I gotta do is make sure that my smelter's exporting as fast as it possibly can. It is. Making me lead very quickly. So, I'm happy with this. I now have a process by which I don't have to use the smelter for anything except aluminum. Which is fine. I'm going to take some aluminum over here and toss it in, and I might be getting ready to disassemble all of these, because there's no reason to have them here anymore. So, anyway, let's toss these in. And I'm happy. I'm going to just sit and watch the system for a little while and make sure it works like it's supposed to, and then I'll be back. Okay, folks, so it's worked its way through all of my copper and all of my lead, and it's working away on all of my tin. I want to just show you this so that you can see how efficient the system is. We now have only 2 or 3 or less of all of the crushed and all of the broken. Clearly, we still have quite a lot of pulverized. At some point, it's going to get to the iron, and that's going to take a while. It's made up some more lead since it finished it, and a little bit more copper. But I'm pretty sure that once it finishes this relatively gigantic backlog, that it will speed its way through. And in fact, so yeah, that's I'm going to call that a completed and successful build. I'm going to bootstrap it a little bit by taking a lot of stuff and tossing it into the smelter one last time. So, and I will see you guys next episode.